Thanks very much indeed. You too. Bristol Rovers and Swindon Town meet at the Memorial Stadium in Bristol tomorrow in a game which could prove crucial for both sides as they scrap it out at the bottom of League One. Rovers are in the relegation zone while Swindon are 19th in the table and only 4 points better off. Now, all the talk this week has been about whether Swindon's leading scorer, Charlie Austin, is on the move. He put in a transfer request on Tuesday. As of now, no news, but his manager is certainly keen to keep him. Jeff Twentyman now gives us his take on derby duels.
Rose deliver it on this occasion. Oh, it's a wonderful header, and Swindon.
Particularly once to Rovers, it's a great atmosphere down there as well. You know, it'll be an inspiration, I'd like to think, to our lads. But you know, there's nothing to match derby game. But I think from the way that both teams are at this stage, it really adds that little bit of extra spice to it.
As a former City manager, did you get extra pelters off the Rovers fans?
I always do. I get them all the time. I go and I get watching games, like, you know. So, but it's all good humour, I have to say. There's never been anything that you can't smile at.
Well, this game is huge for both clubs, as only 4 points separate them at the wrong end of League One. And despite Swindon's lowly position, there's a degree of optimism.
I still think, we're capable of getting in the playoffs. I think we still have the squad capable of doing that, and we still got to stay positive and keep our aims and in sight, and hopefully as I said, pick up performances.
Rovers haven't won in 12 league outings. They're hoping 13 will be unlucky for some.
Yeah, we just want to get the win and get that feeling back, because obviously it's the last time we won was October, and it's a long time, that is.
They've got their sharpshooter in Charlie Austin. Do you look upon that on the day as a kind of personal duel? You want to do better than him?
Well, I think our defence will deal with him, and my question is, defence, can they deal with me? It looks a way that I'll be playing up front against them on Saturday, and yeah, I'm looking to add a few more to my tally.
So they won't be able to deal with you then?
No, hopefully not, but I don't want to jinx it.
Wish you well, Will.
Brilliant, thank you.
Nice one.
Well, you only have to look at the league table to see how big this game is for both clubs. Derby days are fantastic for players. It's all about commitment, getting stuck in and winning the individual battle. But the best bit of advice I ever received was, make sure your head rules your heart. Jeff Twentyman, BBC Points West at the Memorial Stadium.
Swindon's playoff final appearance back in May must already seem a distant memory for their fans. The club now just 1 place and 1 point above the drop zone, unable to recover from Will Hoskins' impressively taken early goal for Bristol Rovers. 3 minutes after the break, Danny Wilson's men sealed their own fate with a disastrous attempt to build from the back. Alan Sheehan was closed down quickly, and his misunderstanding with Lexinel Jean-Francois was a gift for Joe Kufor. Rovers on course for a huge victory in their push to avoid relegation, and the first since Dave Penny took charge, though John Paul McGovern put them back on tenterhooks for a while with 24 minutes still to play. Without a win since mid-October, Rovers could easily have crumbled. Instead, they secured success when Hoskins picked out Jeff Hughes. A win they hope will be a fresh start.
Yeah, first win since October the 16th for Bristol Rovers, but for Swindon, and Danny Wilson doesn't like last season being brought up, but you can't get away from the fact that these are chalk and cheese seasons for them.
Of course they are, and that's because he's lost key players. You lose Greer, Painter and Morrison's gone to Reading.
Yeah, recently, yeah.
Charlie Austin's asked for a transfer request. It's tough to replace your best players, and that's what Swindon have come up against, and the expectations being so high, put a lot of pressure on the young players.
Well, Swindon certainly need a boost. Tomorrow night they're at home to Tranmere after being beaten 3-1 at rivals Bristol Rovers. It was Rovers' first win under new manager Dave Penny. They opened the scoring through Will Hoskins. Joe Kufor made it 2-0 just after half-time. John Paul McGovern did get one back for Swindon with enough time to level it. But Jeff Hughes made it 3-1 with 15 minutes to go.
On to our League One roundup then, which this weekend featured a West Country derby and some truly blood-chilling defending. Rovers fans have waited since mid-October for a home win. They took the lead against Swindon with an early goal from Will Hoskins.
Well, it's a good pass and finishes don't get much better than that. Swindon haven't kept a clean sheet since late September, and here's why. No problem whatsoever until this happens. Joe Kufor not hanging around, seizes on the ball, and his calmness personified. 2-0.
Swindon then gave themselves some hope when John Paul McGovern pulled a cracking goal back for the visitors.
He seizes on the full-back, totally missing the ball, and that's great technique there, getting him back in the game. But what's for Jeff Hughes now? He's going to time his run perfectly across the defender, gets in front, glances the ball home, 3-1.
Exeter. There's the table. Brighton now just 3 points clear of Bournemouth. The Seagulls, though, with 2 games in hand on the Cherries, first of which comes on Tuesday at home to Colchester. The Saints drop to 4th, down below. Exeter move up, Plymouth move down, and Swindon's 3rd straight defeat takes them right to the edge of the relegation battle, where Bristol Rovers move up to 4th last, just 1 point off safety. Yeovil slip another place, but they've a chance to add a point or 3 on Tuesday when they play Wednesday. Well, with a week to go in the transfer window, pretty much all those clubs will be sitting by the phone right now, hoping it doesn't ring and they can hang on to their choicest talent. At Southampton, for example, the Saints' promotion hopes may well depend on keeping some exceptional young talent at St Mary's, while Swindon need Charlie Austin's goals just to keep them in League One. Leroy, you're standing by to hit us with a proper PowerPoint presentation right now. So, across the Football League, who should be worrying most?
Well, strikers are most in demand right now. Goals mean points. So this lot are star quality. Long at Reading, Bradley Wright-Phillips at Plymouth. Even though he's had his injury worries, at Bristol Rovers, a player I know from his Rotherham days is Will Hoskins, and Wesley Thomas at Cheltenham. These are all possible transfer targets. But these 3 are really opening checkbooks. James Constable at Oxford. But I think League One is achievable with Oxford United, so he doesn't need to leave. Torquay's Elliot Benyon scores goals when they matter. And then there's Charlie Austin at Swindon. He's asked for a transfer. There are reports Swindon have turned down a bid from Hull City already. This is Charlie at training today. He's seen other players leave, and it's not surprising he's unsettled. Manager Danny Wilson says, don't listen to speculation.
There's a lot of talk going around which isn't true. There's a lot of talk that's going around that's just speculation, you know, and you have to, you know, separate the truths from the non-truths. So, you know, we're just having to deal with it as we go along. At this moment in time, he's still our player, and I expect him to play tomorrow night.
Danny Wilson says. What about midfielders, Leroy?
Well, Brighton have issued a hands-off Elliot Bennett. Exeter have got creative with Ryan Harley. Swansea have signed him, but loaned him back for the rest of the season. Fingers crossed that Southampton could work a similar deal with Oxlade-Chamberlain. Arsene Wenger has gone public about his admiration for the 17-year-old. Arsenal's interest first revealed on Radio Solent last week. But I hope Saints also get that loan-back clause if the Gunners keep pushing.
All right, what about the fellows at the back, defenders, goalkeepers? They're going to be loitering around until last, as usual, waiting to get picked?
Well, I mean, centre-half Anthony Charles and goalkeeper Shawan Jalal, they're both crucial cogs at Aldershot and Bournemouth. Then there's Stephen Colker at Bristol City. I've picked him because he's been brought into one of our clubs through the loan system. A godsend for many of our clubs. Spurs happy to loan him out for the whole of the season. And don't forget the manager, Steve Cotterill, we've already spoken about him at Portsmouth. Gary Waddock moved from Aldershot, and he took time to get it right at Wycombe. But huge respect to Yeovil's Terry Skiverton. Keeps his team together with so many loan signings. And you know what? I can tell you just how difficult that is.
Now, we were just hearing, Graham, there from Danny Wilson on the subject of Charlie Austin's future. What about Danny Wilson's future at Swindon, eh?
Well, if you look at the team he's got, they've been sold around him. So he doesn't go from being a really, really good manager last year and get them into the playoffs and pushing on to being a bad manager. It's just the team's been taken apart around him. It's nothing to do with him. He's managing what he has. So fans shouldn't forget that.
And Sean Morrison just going as well. Despite that, a lot of Swindon supporters seem to think that he needs to come up with some results really soon. Who they got? Tranmere and Exeter in the next 7 days, and people on our Facebook page saying if he doesn't get wins there, he should get out the door.
I'm not sure about that. We were talking earlier about Gus Poyet going in. He's put his stamp on the club. We talk about giving people time to really, really change the culture and make it their own. And with Danny having to bring players in and players are leaving him, he has to really inculcate them into the way he does things. And if he can't do that, if he isn't given the time to do that, how is a new manager going to have the time to do that as well?
Yeah, with so many players changing, the last thing you want to do is change manager as well.
Especially this time of the season. Yeah. This is a vital time of the season now. I would much rather have Danny there because he knows the players, he knows the job in hand, so let him get on with it.
Well, one paper today going with the story that Ossie Ardiles is perhaps being lined up for a Robins reunion, as they put it. Interesting thought that would be.
Well, what does he know about the club? It would be great, it would be a massive headline, but what does he know about the players? What does he know about the league? What does he know about the situation that they're in at the moment? As I said, Danny's the one for me. Just get behind him, get behind the team, try and push them on, try and be their 12th man, their 13th man, their 14th man if you can.
Swindon's playoff final appearance back in May must seem a distant memory for their worried fans. The club started the day just 2 places above the drop zone and suffered an early blow in their West Country derby at the Memorial Stadium. Will Hoskins impressively taken goal for Bristol Rovers. Hoskins almost got an unconventional assist before the end of the half. His cross turned goal-bound by Swindon's Lessinel Jean-Francois. Keeper Phil Smith alert to the threat. The Robins continued to live dangerously after the interval. David Prutton's header allowed Byron Anthony a shooting chance, a let-off for struggling Swindon. But shortly afterwards, Danny Wilson's men sealed their own fate with a disastrous attempt to build from the back. Alan Sheehan was closed down quickly, and a misunderstanding with Jean-Francois was a gift for Joe Kufor. When in need of goals, the visitors turned to Charlie Austin. Quick reactions from West Brom lone keeper Luke Daniels kept the striker from his 18th of the season. Rovers looked on course for a huge win in their push to avoid relegation, and the first since Dave Penny took charge, though John Paul McGovern put them on tenterhooks for a while, with 24 minutes still to play. Without a win since mid-October, Rovers could easily have crumbled. Instead, they were celebrating when Hoskins picked out Jeff Hughes. This, a win they hope will be a fresh start. These two rivals now next to each other in the table, with Swindon just a point ahead. 3-1 it finished at the Memorial Stadium.
We've got the early goal, which we've got us going, got the supporters behind us. Scored at the right times, if you like, you know, just after half-time we scored the second goal, killed the game a little bit, they get one and then we go back down the other end and really get the third goal and just about kill the game off really. So, not could have asked much more from the players. You know, the 11 stayed out on the pitch because they were excellent, there was no need to change it, no need to freshen it up, they all look fit and sharp and obviously delighted with the result.
The responsibility that has to be taken at the back, quite honestly. And we're sick of saying it's just raking over old coals. The only thing is, I'll say now, and I'll say it honestly, and with no disrespect to anybody at the back, we're going to have to change faces, without a shadow of a doubt. We cannot continue doing this. We need to get people in there, again, that's going to make this very much avoidable, because at the same time, it's just killing the team.